that explain your initial reluctance in this case?
No, look, really, it was a bit of just a bit of an uncertainty about, given the role that I was playing, and where am I at with the balance of that. But once I'd really sat down and got a true understanding of the level of interest in me from the St Kilda Footy Club, that no, look, I'm kidding myself if I deny this. It's something I've always wanted to do. I've been passionate about wanting to coach a senior AFL footy club, and I just couldn't pass up on the opportunity.
Do you think the fact that you now have landed a role after missing out a few times and Ken Hinkley did prior to you will sort of change this thinking that if you go for a few jobs and miss out, you're tarred with an ordinary brush?
Yeah, look, I presume so. The reality is that the longer you're in the game, the more experienced you are, the more likely you are to have been in programs that have worked and programs that haven't worked, and therefore, in many ways, solidifying your philosophy on the game in terms of the way you'd run a program, the way you would coach a footy team, the way you would set up a game plan. And so it just makes sense to me that the more experience you have, the more likely you are to be better at it.
Alan, David Koch this morning clearly didn't want to let you go, certainly not without a fight. What did you make of all that?
Look, I've spoken to David a couple of times today on the phone, and there's no doubt that I was playing a fairly significant strategic role at the footy club, and yes, he was disappointed with the fact that I was moving on, but and I don't want to go too much into private conversations, but he's been incredibly understanding of once we've had the conversation about my want to coach the footy team and coach this footy club, that he's been quite encouraging from that point of view. But he's the chairman of the Port Adelaide Footy Club, so he's certainly going to always come from their angle.
And what kind of sum is St Kilda paying Port Adelaide to secure Alan services? Because David's gone on the record this afternoon saying that there is going to be money exchange.
Yeah, it's not a significant amount. We recognise that Alan's decision has an impact on the Port Adelaide Football Club, and we've already thanked them for their understanding and cooperation today. We have reached an agreement where we will contribute some amount to the help in finding the replacement for Alan.
Is it a six-figure fund?
Certainly not. No,
Alan, were you sort of nervous or sweating on it all today? In fact, it may not actually happen, and you may not get the green light.
No, I wasn't. I could understand. There was reasonably constant dialogue between the key people at Port Adelaide and me, but primarily it was between the critical people at the St Kilda Footy Club with Port Adelaide. But no, certainly they let me know that they need to make statements and need to be strong for their footy club. But in terms of my role and the understanding that this is the role I want to do, they were quite supportive. I'm not sure I totally answered that question the way you wanted to, but that was the gist of the messages.
You didn't shake on your weakness when you saw Sunrise this morning?
No, my wife certainly got a little bit panicky, but it was look, David's an incredibly passionate guy. He's been enormous for their footy club, and if he thinks that it's in the best interest of the footy club to make some noise, then he'll do that.
Given what's happened at this club recently, how thoroughly did you have to be satisfied that things were stable and things were in a good shape for you to take over as coach?
I think every coach that meets with a footy club to play such a significant role and has a real understanding of what it takes to be successful, and that is to have all your ducks in a row in terms of the integration of the footy department with respect to management and coaches and players. And so I think all coaches, and I'm no different, certainly was questioning, if you like, in terms of the relationships with people, and I'm incredibly satisfied that it's a fantastic model and a fantastic group of people that will see this footy club go forward.
Is finals footy a long shot of the Saints rebuilding at the moment?
Yeah, no, look, we certainly won't be talking about finals footy. We'll be talking about improving as a team and improving as a club, and getting all the at the risk of reeling out cliches, but building the foundations, in terms of contested footy and then the way we want to move the footy, all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of work to do, but there'll certainly be no ceiling. I've seen some young guys and young teams do some amazing things, but It's very hard for me. I haven't worked with the group. It's obviously very early. In fact, I haven't met the group at all. So, but it'll all be about improvement and working hard to make sure we end up continuing to improve.
How close do you think